Sunday, January 14th. Well, to have heard my grandfather's stories, one got the impression that as a boy or even as a young man, he was constantly exposed to dangers, to hazards in the workplace and such. And the reality is, yes, that's true, but so was everyone. The safety of working in a foundry in those years, well, it wasn't anything compared to what it is today. And almost all of his friends and associates, even as a boy, had these injuries. Eventually, when Pop's dad was in his middle years, say roughly about 43 or 44, he got a splinter in his finger. He was working a steel lathe and he got a little metal splinter in there and they pulled it out but didn't get all of it. Caused an infection, and that eventually caused him the loss of his two middle fingers on his right hand. Now, R.J. Davidson was the shop steward. And he decided John couldn't work machinery anymore, but maybe he could work a pump station. Those were what they called gas stations in those days. And apparently the ironworks was getting more deliveries from vehicles than they were from trains, so they needed a pump station in the hamlet. And that's what they did. They set him up. But John, he realized he was going to be a businessman now, running his own station. So he asked RJ for a desk. Well, RJ went to W. Snow and said, well, now Pop's dead, he wants a desk. And W. Snow thought about it. He remembered when John was a little boy working in the wheel yard. He liked him. He said, all right, send him upstairs, let him pick out a desk. Well, John went upstairs and he picked out an oak Wooten style desk. It actually had been made in Chicago 40 years earlier. And that was the desk that he got. And that desk lived at his pump station for a long time, a number of decades. Eventually, my dad, Walt, he had it at the house in Hillburn for a few decades as well. And then eventually he gave it to me. By the time I got it, it had a lot of injuries. It had seen a lot of traffic. And so I had to refinish it. And I became the first person to actually refinish that desk. So here's the desk right here. This is the oak desk that he got. Let me try to give you a full view of it if I can. And it's a Wooten style desk. It actually is pretty deep. And if you look closely, it has these marks on it. See these little marks here? And then over here, there's a couple of more. Those are burn marks from all the smoking that happened over this desk. Now, when we were refinishing it, I had a little wood shop in those days, back in the 1980s. And my friends Michelangelo, same one from the stories, and Mark Bob, a friend that I'd met in high school, the two of them were helping me refinish it. And Mark suggested we could bleach these burns out. But no, we decided not to. Because the burns, these little imperfections, are part of the story that the desk has to tell. Because we are who we are, a compilation of all our little imperfections. It's part of the story of who we are. Yeah. Well, we'll do another one tomorrow. See you then.